So today we're going to talk about how to kill cravings, and especially in times where it's looking more and more likely that we're going to be locked down and kept indoors for long periods of times. You know, people are going to, like I said to Natasha earlier, people are going to start looking to escape, find ways of escapism, and for some people that's going to be food, for some people that's going to be alcohol or gaming, whatever it is that it happens to be. But food seems to be the most likely because it's the easiest thing to do. I'm going to teach you the reason why we crave and how to basically stop it and put a halt on it to stop us from going crazy, basically. The way I like to teach is very simple. I'll be talking you through the principles first, but the very underlining basic principles of why this works. After that, I'm going to talk to you about strategy on how we can make sure it works best for you. And then we're going to go tactics, so things you can do to make it easier for yourself. And finally, I'm just going to give you just some tips on some extra things that you might find useful. What most people do with this kind of advice is they usually work the other way. So it's like, you know, the foods to avoid, or make sure you're eating this, or make sure you're avoiding that. And those things are great, but what they are is they're tactics. You're doing it, but you don't know why you're doing it. And if you don't know why you're doing it, you're less likely to continue doing it for a long period of time. Now, when it comes to nutrition, the most basic principle to understand is that the goal of your diet, the goal of nutrition in general, is to control your weight, is to weight manage and energy. If your idea of exercise, for example, if your idea of exercise is to lose weight, it's the wrong kind of focus. All of the weight loss stuff, all the fat loss stuff should be done through the nutrition side. The purpose of exercise is something completely different, and I will go into that in another chat. But for now, we're just going to focus on the nutrition. There are three main nutrients that your body needs on every day. But those three types of nutrients it needs are actually more like two. So, for example, you've probably heard these terms before. It's called a macronutrient. Macronutrients are protein, fat, and carbs. Carbohydrates and fat are one and the same. They are energy. They are just different types of energy. Think of it as fat is diesel and carbs are petrol. Your body chooses to burn carbohydrates over fats when it's in the body because it's easier for it to use. Fats take a little bit more work for it to get used to it, but you get more for your miles out of the diesel, out of the fats, than you do for your carbs. Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
Great. Protein. Protein is the building blocks of your body. So anytime you are building muscle or you're repairing what's going on inside you. So for example, if you've been pregnant, for example, you've had a baby, or like Natasha, you have, or if you have injured yourself in some way, shape or form, your body requires protein to repair it. It's the equivalent of the bricks that are building your house. If you want to build an extension, you need more bricks. And that's what the protein is. It's the building blocks for everything your body needs. And it needs to hit that protein. There's a preset number inside you that needs to be hit every single day to do the basic work, to do the basic recovery, to do the basic repair, and also to keep everything moving along. Because as you can imagine, general wear and tear happens if we're aware of it or not, and your body just needs to keep on top of it. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This is the first basic principle. So if you remember nothing else from this phone call, this is the main principle I want you to really grasp and understand so you can take it away with you and start using the idea behind it. Protein, your body's need for protein is the only thing that drives your hunger. That is it. Your body's need for protein is the only thing that drives your hunger. Protein can be used to repair and build, but not only that, your body can transform it to make energy as well. Carbohydrates and fats, they cannot be used for anything other than energy. So carbs can only be carbs, fats can only be fats. Protein can be used and turned into whatever your body needs it to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great.
I think I missed a bit.
Which bit did you think you missed?
The need for protein is the only thing required for what?
The need for protein is the only number, the only thing that your body needs.
Yeah.
Like that's what fuels hunger.
All right.
Yeah, so your body needs protein to do all of the basic repair, building, and recovery.
Okay. All right.
Great. Now, if we take that basic principle, you wake up, your body's thinking, right, today I need X amount of protein. I'm gonna say 100 grams because it's just an easy number to make. Don't worry too much about the number of it. We'll go into that a bit later. But let's say your body needs 100 grams of protein every single day just to do its basic stuff. As you start eating, you'll be eating meat, chicken, whatever, and that's going to fill you with protein. Let's say, for example, you start getting to that point where you're about halfway there. You're 50% full with protein, and your body is not getting any more. So it starts sending out signals, starts trying to speak to you through hunger. And it's like, hey, trying to get your attention. Hey, I'm hungry, we need protein. Now, you can take action there and know that that's what your body is saying to you. Or you can ignore it, put it off, whatever. If you ignore it, put it off or whatever, your body will start speaking a different language to you. So it's going to be like, first they're trying to talk to you in Spanish. And then if you're not picking up that your body needs more protein, it's like, okay, they're not understanding me. So let me try and speak Italian, for example. The Italian is going to it's going to feel slightly different. It's going to be like, oh, I fancy something like savory, something kind of, something a bit snacky. And that's where that feeling of wanting to snack comes in. So that way you start going out and you start eating whatever. It could be chocolate, crisps, biscuits, etc. Even if you eat a whole pack of biscuits, inside each biscuit is the smallest amount of protein. And that's the thing that's driving your body to eat it. But the problem with that is it's also got a whole load of this other crap inside of it that's you're gonna be overfilling yourself with, overindulging it. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Great. So now this is where my little drawings are going to come into it. I'm going to share my screen. And I wasn't really going to talk about this today, but I will. Fine. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. Whiteboard. Share. Okay, can you see this?
I've just got a white screen. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Just a white screen.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, so can you see that?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this is my attempt at a triangle. Look at that, beautiful. So you can tell I never did art. Right, so in this triangle, I want you to think of it as like the Bermuda Triangle. What this is like, if you get caught in here, it's the fast lane to gaining weight. And there are three things that when they are combined together will make you gain weight at a rapid pace. And this is what we want to avoid. So where is it? I'm going to actually do text boxes. So this side is very simply fat. On this side, carbs. And on this side, sugar. If those three things are together, if those three things are together, you are overloading on energy because all three things are a form of energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Although they are different types of energy, they are still forms of energy. Now, remember that your body is always looking to make things easy. So it will burn the easiest things first. Sugar is what it will burn first. That's why people get sugar highs. After the sugar, it will go to the carbohydrates. Then it will eventually go to the fats if you're not topping these two back up. So let's say you, before I go into it. So if I was to say to you, right, Natasha, here is a big bag of flour and here is a spoon. Go to town, eat your weight, eat as much as you want. How many mouthfuls do you think you can do before you think, you know what, I've had enough of eating flour? It's probably not a lot.
No.
Okay, great. So the flour is the carbs. And if I said to Jen, here's a stick of butter, go crazy, you know, eat the whole thing, go mad. You're probably, I think it's fair to say, obviously, you're probably not going to get very far into that stick of butter before you think, you know what, I'm done with this.
You're right there.
Depends
Now,
if you stick it in sugar though.
well, so hold on, this is where we start putting it all together. So if I said to you, like, here's a big tub of sugar, and you like just eating the sugar, once again, it's not going to be that great, and you probably won't get that much into it. But you combine all three things together, and you get shortbread. You mix it together, you get shortbread. All of a sudden, you're high in all of these three things, and it's very easy to overeat, very easy to eat more of it, and therefore you've got way more energy. And anything your body is not using gets stored because it's like, okay, well, we'll save this energy for later, because that's all fat is. Fat is just energy waiting to be used. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Now you might be thinking, where does the protein come into this now? And if you are filled with protein, your body won't crave anything else. It's very, very tough to overeat on protein. And I mean, it's really, really hard. If you was to have a big load of steak or a big load of chicken, you can only eat so much before your body says, no, that's it, I'm done. Because it's so dense in nutrients and it's very filling, your body's going to be working on it for a long time. And it's getting everything that it needs. Because those needs are being met, it's not going to be craving anything afterwards. Whereas if you're eating things like the shortbread, it's still not getting the protein. So even after you've eaten half a pack, which I do sometimes, it's still going to be sending out craving signals because it still hasn't got the protein that it needs. So,
Okay, so I need to eat 2 chicken breasts rather than 1 chicken breast
yes.
when I have my dinner.
Yes.
So more chicken, less shortbread.
Yeah, more chicken, less shortbread. So let me break this down for you nice and simply. The principle is that your body is always seeking to hit its protein intake. The strategy is when you start feeling hungry or peckish or craving something, whatever it is, whatever the craving you are feeling, your body is seeking the protein. So the principle is your body seeking protein. The strategy is to eat a form of protein before you give in to any of the other cravings. The technique we're going to use to make that happen is making sure that you have things on hand, whether you have cold chicken in the fridge or ham, beef, whatever it is, eggs, like just having it on hand, like so you can boil a load of eggs and keep them in the fridge and have one of those, or whatever it happens to be. I'm more, I've got a feeling, no, go on, are you going to ask me about protein shakes?
No, I was going to ask, say, like the protein dense food is quite high in calories, and if I'm trying to cut down on calories, is that not going against it, or am I doing completely the wrong thing?
Okay, so I think what you've just asked me is, just because you were crackling in and out, I think what you've just asked me is, because protein foods like chicken and stuff are quite high in calories, is that going to affect you in terms of losing weight?
Yes.
Right. The answer to that is very simple. It won't. Because
Okay.
if you're hitting your protein target, you will not be craving any more food. And what you might notice is the first couple of times you do this, it might feel like you're overeating. But then what will happen is, it's only because your body's still trying to catch up from all the other demands that it's getting. So once you start giving it the more protein on a regular basis, what you're going to notice is you're going to actually start eating less.
Right.
Because you're going to crave less and you're going to be less hungry. Yeah. Yeah, so the technique is obviously to have food in the fridge ready to go. And the tactic is very simply just have it to grab. Just try and understand what your body's saying. So whenever you hit that craving, just go straight to the fridge, get some food, go crazy. So, I mean,
What would you suggest is a good breakfast then, Tom?
a good breakfast, I would make breakfast as protein dense as you can. So, Jen, you've seen pictures of some of my meals.
Yeah.
Yeah, believe it or not, that's all I eat. That's my meal of the day. Like, I eat once a day. It's chopped with protein, and that's it. That's all I have because I'm not hungry after that, and I don't crave anything. So
Eat one meal a day.
Yeah, I have one meal a day.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, Natasha. These meals are pretty extreme. Like, I'm more than happy to share a photo with you of what I'm eating. But yeah. So a good example, you could have eggs, salmon, any type of fish, chicken, beef, pork, gammon. Like, meat and seafood are your oyster. You go crazy. You can have vegetarian options if you choose to, which are going to be more focused on beans and quinoa. That's also pretty high in protein as well. So those kinds of foods. I don't know the other ones off the top of my head. I can send you a list later if you'd like. I think actually, Jen, in the Chick or PT group, I've got a list of high protein foods in there. You can just type it in the files and you'll be able to download it. Natasha, if you want, I can share that with you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Great. Yeah. The other thing is, when I start talking about chicken and meat for breakfast, because we've been raised and sort of trained to have cereal or toast or those sorts of things, like the idea of meat for breakfast sounds a bit weird for some people, but it comes back to breaking out of the norm. Remember that our body, the principle behind it all is that your body is constantly seeking protein to hit its target. And if you're giving it cereal or you're giving it bread or toast or whatever, you're eating it, that's high in energy, that's great. But you're going to be craving 2 hours later for something else.
Where does peanut butter come in on this?
Peanut butter is high in protein, my dear, I'll have you know.
Good.
So peanut butter and apple sticks.
Peanut butter and apple sticks, did you say?
Yeah.
Peanut butter and apple sticks, yeah, it's fine. It's a good little go-to. Yeah. Once I send you the list of the protein, the protein list, you'll have greater clarity of what kind of foods to go for. But yeah, peanut butter, it's high in fat as well, but good fats. There are 3 major things that you can do to improve your weight loss. But once again, that's for another talk. This is just focus on what causes cravings and how to, if not kill them completely, which it has, I'd say 95% of the time it has for me, then it will definitely reduce it quite drastically. Do you have any questions?
No.
No.
Cool. Do you guys feel like you have some good takeaway action points from today?
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
Excellent. Is there anything else I can help you with at the moment?
Not for me, thanks, Tom.
Awesome. And Natasha?
No. What about slim fast shakes, or should I ditch them completely and go for high protein food?
So you have to make the best decision for yourself with this. My belief, this is just my opinion, my belief, that slim fast is the wrong way to go. I know it does work. It does make people lose weight. However, it does that based on restriction only. A lot of the stuff is filled with fillers to suppress your appetite. And then that way, the moment you stop, that appetite suppressant is gone, and therefore you're going to start eating more. Therefore, the weight's going to go on even faster. And because your body is craving nutrients, most of the time I've seen people gain their weight back quite quickly, if not even more weight than before.
Right.
By focusing on this basic principle of get your protein in, you're giving your body what it needs. And at first, it might feel like you're gaining a little bit of weight, but that's just because you're going to be changing your diet slightly, and then it will start bringing itself right back down.
Okay.
So I say this from a place that I have tried almost every diet, and there's usually like a week to 10 days, not all the time, but like just on average, there's a week to 10 days where your body is sort of like fluctuating between weight as it's trying to get used to the new way or the new style.
Okay.
And for me, this has actually been the thing that has really made food manageable. So not only have I got more energy, my body fat has actually been probably the lowest it's ever been, and I don't feel reliant on food. A lot of people feel like, oh, you know what, I need to make sure I eat, I need to make sure I have dinner, I need to make sure I have lunch and stuff. Because I focus on hitting that one target, I don't feel reliant. So if I miss a meal, it's not a big deal because I'm not actually that hungry. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Cool. If you have any questions, honestly, just reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed today. I hope you found it valuable.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Great. All right, guys. Well, in that case, I will let you enjoy the rest of your day. Please keep asking questions, and I'll help you where I can. Yeah, and I'll help you where I can, and we'll go forward from there.
Okay, see you then.
Take care, guys. And
Bye.
Natasha, don't forget to join that group.
Can you send it to me on